He's here! And he's here to talk about dreadlocks, or more specifically, his lack thereof. He's also going to stop talking in the third person. So I did promise that my next video would be a discussion on why I decided to remove my dreadlocks. I appreciate that some people may have expected it slightly sooner than this, but to those people I say refer to my username that has lazy written right there in block capitals. First off, a little apology if there's a little bit more traffic noise than you're used to in my videos. Behind that wall is London, and despite my pleas, they will not be quiet. So, I had dreadlocks for 11.5 years, and then I stopped having dreadlocks. I think something changes over time. When you first get dreads, people are always asking you, why do you have dreadlocks? Why do you have them? Why did you get them? And then after you've had them for a few years, people get used to them. They become the new normal for you. And then they're like, why would you ever get rid of them? You're going to keep them forever, right? Like, I understand that it's annoying to get asked, why do you have dreadlocks? Why are you keeping dreadlocks, etc. But I think it's important to at least ask yourself, because they're hard work. They can be really annoying, and to put in the time and effort and patience to keep them, I think you need to at least be honest with yourself and have a reason that you can fall back on so you can remember why you're doing whatever you're doing. Over the years I went back and forth. There was a love-hate relationship. I think that most people with dreadlocks have some sort of love-hate relationship. The ratios can be different, but I don't necessarily think that there are people out there who wake up every single day for years and say, I love my dreads, there's no problem with them, they don't annoy me at all. Maybe people do that, but I've not come across them, and I've been doing this for a while. And if there are people like that, I'd question as to whether they're being honest to others or to themselves. That's what I'm saying, just that they are annoying. I think I've shown over my videos where I'm trying to teach people how to limit the annoyance, that there are little bits that you have to deal with. And so, yeah, you go backwards and forwards, but most of the time that love-hate balance kind of evens out and you keep them, or at least most people do. I kept them for over a decade, and I guess that means that me and my dreads were doing all right. So I started my dreadlocks because I was attracted to the freedom of them, or let's be specific. I was attracted to the freedom that they represented, in that there were artists, musicians that I idolized at the time, 11.5 years ago. I was 14 at the time, and I was attracted to the freedom that they represented, and that they had dreadlocks, and I wanted to kind of capture some of kind of this image that they were projecting and I was connecting to. And freedom was a big thing. I think that having dreadlocks is freeing for a lot of people, and at least a lot of people that I've interacted with through this channel. It's a big reason why a lot of people get them. There's a freedom to rejecting the norms. I'm not saying that dreadlocks are uncommon or weird or strange. I'm just saying that they're not the commonly accepted way to have your hair, at least not the way that I was doing it. I was trying to reject any sort of norm. I wasn't washing my hair with products that were like forced into my face, or cutting my hair into a certain style, and I wasn't passing by mirrors and thinking that I've got to make sure that it's perfect, because I knew that if I looked in the mirror it was not going to be perfect, and accepting that was freeing. And you know, it's rebellious, and there's definitely like an attraction to rebellion. And you know, I connected with that for a long time, 11.5 years before I got rid of them, so I guess I liked them. But there's a cliche saying, and it's the things that you own end up owning you. And it's something that I came to feel after over a decade of having dreads. The things that seemed freeing at the start, restrictions start to creep in. How these restrictions affect you, or affected me, it's going to differ from person to person. And sometimes they change over time. Things that like annoyed me and grated on me 5-6 years ago now they don't. But with dreadlocks, the more I became familiar with them, my dreadlocks, the more that I understood them, the more that I found that I was making conscious decisions that benefited the dreadlocks. So I locked my hair for me, and then 10 years later, I'm like, well, I'm making decisions for the hair and not necessarily for me. I'll be try and be more specific. Situations where my hair might get dirty or messed up, or if I couldn't access a good quality shower or good soap that I knew I could use on my dreads, I would avoid those situations because I wouldn't want to have to deal with the annoyances in the interim that my hair would throw up. And these things get worse, right? Like, the longer I have the dreadlocks, the more I know that if I use this soap, then that's going to mess with my scalp. If I use this soap, it's going to lead to buildup, and I become more and more picky. It's like, if I go and I wash my hair badly, then it's going to get itchier, and it's just like, if I do this, it's going to be too hot, and I'm going to feel like claustrophobic, and it's just, when you start making decisions on what's best for your hair and not necessarily what you want to do, then I think that that's a red flag. And look, I'm not trying to justify this in a way that other people can accept, because I will be the first to say that these kind of justifications are BS. There are people out there who live way more active, adventurous, far out lifestyles who honestly do not give a... They are much more patient and they don't care, and these things don't get to them, but they got to me. And I just found that I was, making these concessions for my hair. Like, I'd be working nights and I would go and I'd do photography work in clubs and bars, and I'd be working through the night, and then I'd go home and have a little bit of sleep, and then I have class the next day, and then I work the next night. And it's like, I don't have time in this schedule to properly look after my hair in a way that is not going to annoy me. So it's like, do I do what I want to do, like my creative passions or work or job or study, or do I make sure that my hair is not annoying? It's like, I felt forced to choose one or the other. And over years, I found a balance that worked. But on reflection, I start to question more and more why I'm having to kind of make this balance, this concession. This is back to the question you have to ask yourself: why do you have dreadlocks? Like, why are you making like these compromises? What are you getting from it? And for the longest time, it was, I keep telling myself it's the freedom, but when you analyze what that is, it becomes kind of trickier. It was trickier for me to justify. Beyond the sphere of myself, so far I've just been talking about me, how I feel, how things affect me. Beyond the sphere of myself, the world is not the same as it was when I started my dreadlocks. I don't really talk about this at all on my channel. I don't feel that I'm the appropriate commentator. I don't feel that I have a voice that should be called upon for the question as to when, where, and how dreadlocks are appropriate. But I'm aware that it's not the same now as it was 11 and a half years ago for me and how I feel about my hair. I don't think that the issues that are discussed now are new. I don't think that they didn't exist a decade ago. I just think that they are more in the mainstream, and I'm more aware of them. And so while I don't discuss it, because honestly I don't have a strong argument one way or the other and as to whether dreadlocks are or are not appropriate, I think the fact that I don't have an argument for it is probably a red flag in itself. And I've never cared about negative comments on my hair, and trust me, like, I've always had them. I started my dreadlocks in high school. You're gonna get negative comments from people that you're in class with. Start a YouTube channel where not to like boost my ego with numbers, but it's like millions of views, millions of hits on my videos. That there are a lot of negative comments. Like, I honestly could not care less. And if you leave me a negative comment, it just adds to the statistics of the video. That's all I'm saying. But I just started to feel that it wasn't really, for me, connecting in the same way that it was outside of like my sphere 10 years ago. I just don't feel that, for me, they were representing the same thing that I thought they were 10 years ago. And so when you kind of add all these things up, it's like, personally, they're not allowing me to express what I wanted to express originally anymore. And what I am expressing is maybe not, again, what I want to express. And I guess that's how I came to my decision. It's not like a big negative thing. A lot of people taking it really personally and got upset that I removed my dreadlocks, even though it's my hair and it's my thing. But I understand it, and I don't want to like diss on these people, because some people have grown up, or their dreadlocks have grown up through me and my channel, and then to connect with me, while I'm flattered, I don't think that they necessarily should. I'm just here to provide information. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Like, Lazy Dreads isn't me, it was the website, but you know, they've kind of become intertwined over the years. And they've become upset. Some people have become upset that I'm no longer kind of at the forefront of something that they are just getting kind of committed into. I mean, 10 years ago I was getting committed into it, and I think I've gotten what I need out of it. And for me to continue to keep them and to be what other people want me to be, because you know they need someone to do that for them, I don't think I'm the right person to do that, and there are other people who are better suited to do that, I think now, or I still have the knowledge that I have, but I don't think that I'm the suitable person to stand here or sit here and make videos and be this kind of dreadlock inspiration that some people have had me as, if I'm no longer connecting with them in the way that I was. And look, it's not negative. I've had 11 and a half good years. I didn't leave my dreadlocks on a bad note. I've had a good relationship. I've loved them for a really long time. But it's just one of those things where you decide that you had them in your life and they came to you and you've learned so much from them, and it's time to let them go, kind of thing. People ask if I miss them or I regret the decision, and they expect me to say yes. If it's been a huge part of your life for so long, then surely removing them, you're going to feel some sort of remorse or regret. And really, I don't, because I am completely sold on the idea that I had them. They were really important to me for a long time. I gained so much from them and learned so much from them. And, you know, things are finite and they come and they go. And that was the time that I was supposed to have them. My personal experience was that removing them was the most freeing thing that I could have done at that time, like full stop. And if freedom is what I was looking for, to take something that's so seemingly permanent in my life, like this mainstay for my entire adult life, and to take control and make the decision to remove them, it was huge. And I felt like this huge freedom that I hadn't felt in a really long time. The biggest thing is that the lessons that I learned having dreadlocks, the not caring, the not bothering, the things that I wanted, I still have. And that stops me from really missing the physical dreadlocks. I was never particularly connected to the physical ropes of hair. I've trimmed them many times over the years. It wasn't about growing them or having this thing that I could show, like, these are mine. It was about the continuous thing, the being in a state of, this is how my hair is growing because I'm not caring and I'm unbothered. And I have that now. My hair is unlocked, but I treat it very much the same as when I had dreadlocks. I've not suddenly become like this person that is manicuring and caring and doing all this and that. Like, I have the freedom that the dreadlocks afforded me, but without the downsides of not being able to wash my hair before work or before doing something else that I want. It allows me to follow passions and interests that dreadlocks sometimes felt that they were anchoring me away from. And so in spirit, like, if dreadlocks can be there in spirit, like, I still have everything that I felt that I had with dreadlocks. Just, I don't know, I feel comfortable and able to express myself in a different way. And I think that's the best way that I can explain it. And I think that I left my dreadlocks on a positive note, and I've transitioned into something else that is equally as positive, like a positive feeling that I haven't had in a long time. Whew, that's a wordy one. It was getting kind of deep and philosophical at the end, and I don't mean to force it that way, but you know, well, I don't regret getting rid of them when I think about them. You know, there's obviously strong emotions there, and trying to express them. I understand that some people will think that some of this is a bit hand-wavy and fruity or overly colourful and it's just hair. I'll be the first person to say that it's just hair. But, you know, there's definitely things to be discussed, and I promised I would discuss them, and I feel this video is long enough that I've justified justified it. I feel that I should have hopefully covered all the bases that should be covered. You can leave me some comments on what you think. We can have a discussion, we can talk. I'm still here. Some people seem to think that since I've lost my dreadlocks, I'm dead. In fairness, people seem to think I'm dead because I'm not making YouTube videos, but it's not necessarily just because I'm lazy. It's because a lot has happened in my life between when I took my dreadlocks off and now, and a lot. So if you only follow me through YouTube, it might seem like I'm dead and I've abandoned everything, but I'm still on Facebook. We still have a Lazy Dreads Facebook group that has, I think, like 9,000 members. So the Lazy Dreads spirit and the people that we've brought together are still there, and I'm still maintaining that and moderating the Lazy Dreads Facebook group, and I'm still on Instagram, and I still have things to say, but you know, me and the dreadlocks did part, and I can understand that that's an issue for some people. I hope that I covered everything in enough detail so that you can understand my reasoning, and that the traffic noise wasn't too distracting. But I'd like to thank you guys for sitting through this. Again, leave me a comment. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. But until next time, farewell.